I'm James Heaney, and this is Brief News Brief. Late last night, during a Senate hearing to confirm Senator Jeff Sessions as the United States Attorney General, Rule number 19 of the Senate was proverbially broken by Senator Elizabeth Warren, which provoked Senate Leader Mitch McConnell to essentially shut that bitch up. So what is Rule number 19? Rule number 19 says, no senator in debate shall directly or indirectly by any form of words impute another senator or other senators any conduct or motive unworthy or unbecoming a senator. So what was this impugning that Warren was in such violation of that she was grounded off the Senate floor from being able to speak out at the Jeff Sessions hearing? Well, Warren was reading a letter that was written 30 years ago about Jeff Sessions. This letter was written by Coretta Scott King, the widow of Martin Luther King Jr. Coretta Scott King wrote this damning letter to government officials in the 80s when Sessions was nominated to a judgeship that was eventually rejected. He didn't get it because they thought maybe he wasn't good because he's unqualified with all the terrible things he's done in civil rights. All right? Well, the silencing of Warren turned what could have been an ordinary late-night partisan floor speech for political devotees into a national story. Warren being silenced by male senators for attempting to read a letter from a civil rights icon sparked national interest. Well, apparently, the next morning, Warren's male colleagues were able to read from the letter uninterrupted. The Democratic National Committee blasted out a supportive statement saying, "It's a sad day in America when the words of Martin Luther King Jr.'s widow are not allowed on the floor of the United States Senate. Let Elizabeth Warren speak." Bernie Sanders also spoke out saying Senator McConnell made a mistake, and I think he owes Senator Elizabeth Warren an apology. I think we immediately need to take a revote on that issue to make it clear that we're not going to allow this to become a precedent. Early this morning in Iran, the supreme leader of Iran spoke out saying thanks to Donald Trump because he clearly represents the true face of Americans. The supreme leader said, "We actually thank this new president, Trump. We thank him because he made it easier for us to reveal the true face of the United States, what we've been saying for over 30 years about political, economic, moral, and social corruption within the U.S. ruling establishment. He came out and exposed it during the election campaigns and now after the elections. Now, with everything he's doing, handcuffing a child as young as 5 at an airport, he's showing the reality of American human rights." Then on Sunday, on Sunday, Mad Dog Mattis called Iran the biggest sponsor of state-sponsored terrorism. This was just days after, during a press conference, a national security official surprisingly came out and put Iran on notice for testing a nuclear weapon the day before. Mr. Mattis signaled that the U.S. would take a tough stance on Iran compared to Mr. Trump's predecessor, Obama. Iran's foreign minister, Mohammad Javad Zarif, responded that Iran was unmoved by the U.S. threats, and Iran then imposed its own sanctions against the U.S. It has banned the U.S. wrestling team from entering the country to compete. Iranians feel that Trump is trying to corner Iran to make them bow before the U.S. and change their behavior or face confrontation. Basically, Iran feels like Trump is trying to corner them and get them to suck a big D. But unfortunately with him, it's just a tiny D. You see those hands. You know about fingers, tiny Ds. But that is the face of America, right? So you might be waking up a little lonely and confused, wondering, where's my ex-boyfriend? President, I don't like this new guy. And then you might find yourself doing a little bit of stalking. You know that internet stalking you do when you get a little crazy over your ex because you're missing them so hard? Well, don't even bother looking at what Obama's been doing, okay? Don't look, I swear. It is not going to make you happy. You're going to go down a rabbit hole of depression, and you're going to want to make new Facebook accounts to dislike all the pictures of him smiling. But you know what? I hate to say it. He's over you. So don't look, okay? But if you can't help it, if you really can't help it, then I guess, because, look how happy he is now. He's so happy now that he's not with you. And what's he been up to? Well, he's been kiteboarding with Richard Branson in the Virgin Islands. The Secret Service told Obama he wouldn't be able to surf for 8 years. Well, Now the man is off the leash of the American people and he hit the waves. Moral of the story, he's over it. He's moved on. He's just not that into you, America. Deal with it. All right? You have a new boyfriend. He grabbed you by the pussy and now you're in a 4-year serious long-term relationship with a narcissist. The good news is, I think there's lots of Facebook articles out there for you to click on. You know, those clickbait ones about narcissists. You're so vain. You think this Facebook post is about you, don't you? It's poll telly time, poll telly time. Yeah, that's really fresh. That is super fresh. Just keeping it hip with the new kids. But it's time to poll tally, right? First up, do you get road rage? No. Myself, our viewers, we don't get road rage. It's everybody else on the road that's making problems for everybody. And was the Patriots' Super Bowl win comparable to the 2016 election? Well, you could compare anything. You could compare a shit sandwich to a prime beef sandwich, but the similarities are going to be limited. And finally, for last polls that we're checking in on, do Americans have a high ground over Russia? Yeah, they do. They have a moral high ground over Russia. New polls. Get that democracy pumping through the veins. Are you happy that Obama has moved on? Is Trump the true face of America? And rules are meant to be, That's an open-ended question there. You're going to have some choices. Now, we're going to take Friday's show off. I'm going to be doing a show in New York on February 9th. Not going to be back until too late for Friday. And next Friday, I'll be at Stanford University up somewhere in California, somewhere south of San Francisco and north of Los Angeles. So we're going to be taking those 2 days off. We hope that you keep on tuning in and making democracy work.